Hi friends, my name is Gaurav and I'm back with another video today. And today we have got a special guest today. Hi Abdul, welcome to the channel today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, so today actually Abdul Rahman is from Saudi Arabia and a lot of students, those who come to UK for studying, so they have got a funding opportunity in their home country. So today we are going to actually talk about like what are the steps to apply for the scholarship and how you can find your college for your PhD and the master degree if you want to do in UK. So all this discussion today we'll do in very detail. So first Abdul, I'll start with like the first question. What our viewers want to listen, like first if you tell about yourself, a very basic background of your undergrads and postgrads, and that will really help to our audience.
Okay. First, my name is Abdurrahman Al-Matafi. I'm from Mecca. I did my undergrad in the University of Qura in Mecca, and then for my master's degree, I had it here in Manchester, and now I'm completing my PhD. I'm currently in my third year of PhD.
So what your PhD is about?
It's in civil engineering. I'm working with CFRB on concrete structures. So I'm doing experimental and numerical work in this.
Okay, that looks like very futuristic and sustainable thing, because a lot of research in this field is going in this direction, isn't it?
That is correct, and the good thing about CFRB is that it can be used as a strengthening material. So you don't need to demolish those old buildings. You can just strengthen it and try to extend the lifetime of that building.
Oh, that's very amazing. Yeah.
And it's not only for buildings. It's for different types of structures. So you can apply that for bridges. You can for hospitals and commercial buildings and so many other structural types of buildings.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Abdul, you're from Saudi Arabia, and a lot of students, those who come to UK for PhD, so they get their funding for the scholarship from their home country.
Mm-hmm.
So our audience would like to know, like, what are the steps for applying for the scholarship if you are a Saudi Arabia student and you want to apply for the scholarship from your home country? So what are the basic steps, like step by step, the student should follow? Can you please tell that?
Okay, so in Saudi Arabia we have the three main routes to apply for a scholarship. The first one is the academic route, is joining a Saudi university, and through their program, the scholarship program, you can try to pursue your higher education.
So what does this mean? Joining a Saudi university, what does it mean like?
So the first route is there is one job in Saudi Arabia called teaching assistant or demonstrator, different translation for the same word.
Okay.
And in Arabic it's called mu'id. So if you join to this job, in the contract when you apply for that job, you have to pursue your higher education in one of the good universities around the world. So
Okay.
you have to secure a job first at those universities, and through their scholarship program, you complete your higher education.
Okay, so this is about your first route. What about the second one?
The second one is through one of the government scholarship programs. There is so many programs, and every year it's developing, and they add more program or delete older programs. So I'm not very updated on those information.
By the way, meanwhile, like, is there any minimum criteria or minimum eligibility that the student should hold to apply for these things, these process?
Yes, according to the latest update, you have to have at least an unconditional offer. Sorry, so an unconditional offer from one of the universities around the world. You have to get your IELTS certificate, in English certificates. It's either IELTS or a TOFEL exam or any other exam that is accepted by that university in order to get an unconditional offer. And usually you should have a high GPA for those higher universities.
Okay.
That you applied for.
Okay, and when we are talking about the selection of the university, so is it really matter that when you apply for the scholarship, so the letter which you are having, the unconditional offer letter from the university, is having a very good ranking, or is it like within 100, within 200? Is it something mentioned there like that criteria?
It differs between the three roads. I don't think we talked about the third road, just to mention it very fast. The third road is that you go by yourself and pay for your own tuition fees, so it's a self-sponsored further education. However, after you finish a certain amount of your program with certain grades or certain grades, for example, for masters, you got a distinction on this semester or something, you can apply through the Saudi Cultural Bureau branches around the world that you want to join the Saudi program. So they would join you toward the second route. And,
Okay.
and they will pay back whatever tuition fees you pay.
So it's basically like a reimbursement, like once you pay and then it will be reimbursed back.
Exactly, but this is conditioned according to your grades and mainly GPA during that time.
Okay, all right. That's really nice. At the same time, so as you mentioned, these three types way, like the students and employees, so are these very competitive for the students to get, or is it easier? Like, what you would say?
It differs between the routes. However, the first route might be the most challenging, the academic one, because first you have to secure a job, which is very limited between the Saudi universities, and then you can join those the scholarship program for that university.
Okay.
So the first one might be the most competitive one.
Okay, very nice. So now you told everything about like how to apply for this scholarship, what are the all process. Now suppose if a student want to select the university, like we are here at the University of Manchester. So what was your criteria? What was your point while selecting the university? That I want to join University of Manchester and not any other university?
I will answer this question based on the first route as I'm most experienced with. Usually in the academic route you have what's called your department, they would have a scientific committee in every department in the Saudi universities, and that scientific committee would try to evaluate if the ranking of the university is good, if the program that you are applying to is matching what they are expecting you when you come back. So there are 3 steps. So first you find the university and you get an unconditional offer from them, and then you apply all of that information and apply it to the scientific committee, and they evaluate this information if it's matched their expectation. If they approve it, you can then start the other process of starting your program.
Okay. And do you think is while selecting any university for your higher studies, so does it really also matter that you should choose, like you are coming from science engineering background, so you should specifically look for colleges good in your field, or it's all about like general when you talk about top universities, every universities are okay? What do you personally feel?
No, because of the scientific committee, you have to find a very good university that has a high reputation, that their education is very good for that. And in some of the scientific committee, in some of the universities, it try to limit your options. For example, some Saudi universities prefer to send their students to the United States, and some of them doesn't mind it's either the United States, the United Kingdom, or any other countries. And some of the Saudi universities prefer for their students to not having certain programs. So, for example, in Manchester, you have modules, and then you have a research, which is a dissertation. And in some of the program, it's only research for the master's degree. Most of the university doesn't prefer the second route, so of only research. So they mostly prefer materials courses and then dissertation work.
Okay, that's really insightful. And one last question regarding this. So suppose a student has selected that this is the university that I'm going to apply. The student also know what are the channels for applying for this scholarship. But now how the student will approach the university? Like suppose if a student want to apply for the PhD. So I've heard like you have to contact the supervisor under which you want to work. So is it like an email process, or you have to go on the website? So what is that process of contacting?
First, you have to make a list of potential supervisors around the country that you are selecting, or around the world if you want to expand your choices.
And they should have the expertise on your research interest.
Yes, exactly, because the scientific committee wouldn't approve it if that supervisor is not closely related to the topic that you are working on. So you have to try to make a list of the supervisor that you want to, and then try to exclude the ones from the university that is not acceptable by the criteria of the government, which is I think top 100 or top 200 universities around the world. And then when you have those contacts, you start contacting them. However, you should say very clearly in your email that you are fully sponsorship by the government of Saudi Arabia. That would help you a lot in the process of selection for PhD, because so many students of PhD, they want to pursue their PhD, but they are looking for funds. However, you already secured your fund, which is a very high or very good shortcut.
So I think it's a really important point, and please students do mention this thing when you're approaching any potential supervisor for your higher studies. Do mention that you have the availability of the fundings for your PhD or master, whatever you're going to do, because that really helps for getting a reply from the supervisors.
Exactly, and you could include that it's fully sponsored from the tuition fee side and the living cost side, because some universities around the world don't approve only tuition sponsorship, that you have to have a provider for the living cost. But for the Saudi government scholarship, you have both. You have the living expenses and you have the tuition fees, which is very good package for the supervisors to select, because they wouldn't pay or they wouldn't arrange any funding projects for their students. So it's a PhD for the just for the part of PhDs.
Yeah, I understand that point.
Or for the sake of the PhD.
Yeah, for the sake of PhD, yeah. Yeah, Abdul, so like you talked about how to apply for, like what are the basic process for this scholarship, what are the types of scholarship, and what eligibility criteria you need to have to apply for the scholarship, then how to shortlist the universities where you want to do your higher studies, and again what are the minimum criteria, and how to approach the universities. I think these are the very basic things that every student should follow while applying. In the end, if you have any personal message that you want to give to the prospective students, those who are trying to apply, any suggestion that you would like to give, you can say.
Try to prepare your documents first. For example, the unconditional offer and then the IELTS exam. I keep mentioning IELTS exam because in the UK it's the main IELTS exam, but you can do the TOFEL, you can. Some of the universities accept Duolingo, I think. Some of the universities, even in the UK, accept Duolingo exams. So any exam would be fine if that university is accepted. So try to prepare your documentation as early as possible, even if you can prepare it before you graduate with your bachelor degree. This is a very good opportunity for you in order to skip some of the queues. So if the university that you are applying for as a demonstrator or as a teaching assistant have two candidates, one with an English certificate and one without English certificate, most likely the candidate with the English certificate exams will be accepted, because usually universities are afraid of three main things when they try to employ a teaching assistant. First is that they wouldn't actually they wouldn't secure an unconditional offer. Second thing, they wouldn't secure an English exam test. They wouldn't score a high score on that test that make them get the unconditional offer. And the third thing, which is that the student wouldn't be able to continue his PhD because his academic performance is not the greatest. So these are the main things that the university are afraid of. So the first thing, if you could secure an unconditional offer, this is a very good point. If you can secure an English certificate exam, this is a very bonus point for you. And thirdly, if you can get a high GPA during your whatever bachelor degree or master's degree, this is an additional good point for you. So these 3 points most likely would provide you with a good access to those academicships.
Yeah, I think Abdul, you gave a very detailed explanation of each and every step, and this will be really insightful and informative for students. Thank you so much, Abdul.
Thank you.
And if you really like this video and if you find this informative, please like, share and subscribe so that other students also can get help. And we'll be coming up with more interviews, videos regarding PhD scholarship and everything. So stay tuned. Thank you. Bye-bye.